Alright guys, and your Buzz here coming at you with another quick video. So if you watched the last video, we had replaced the distributor on here, but we didn't get the opportunity to time it because our timing gun was malfunctioning. So what I did is went to our old trusty AutoZone, picked ourselves up a brand new timing gun here, and then we're going to try it on here. Hopefully we don't have issues. There could have been something going on with the truck, or it was a timing gun. I hope it was a timing gun, but nevertheless, I also discovered that before you go to adjust the timing, you're going to have to pull out what's called the spout connector. And essentially what that is it's what automatically times the vehicle. So you're not really going to be able to dial it in when that thing's fighting you the whole time. And I had a hell of a time figuring out where that's at. There's basically no videos on this, and yeah, I couldn't really find anything, and it's frustrating. But I think I dialed it into this because the connections look identical to what the part looked like, and it looks like we don't have it on here, which is interesting, potentially concerning. So we'll probably get a new one of those, but with that being said, we don't have to worry about removing that because it's not there. So first thing we're gonna do is I got a little crayon here. I'm gonna bring you guys under the truck, and if you look up here, this is just where it's at in here. This is called the harmonic balancer, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But on here you got your notches, as you can see, for your timing. And we're just gonna mark top dead center with a crayon here just to be able to see it better. Alright, so we got our mark there. It's not real good, but normally it's probably better to use whiteout or like a silver permanent marker, just anything that kind of sticks out. But we're gonna try this because that's all I have on hand, and then we're gonna see if we can get this timed. So alrighty guys, so the next thing we're gonna fire her up. I'll probably just do a little voiceover because this thing is very loud, but essentially we're just connecting this to the ignition wire, which is the one in the middle here. If you want to find that, you can just look back to your ignition coil, that wire back there, and follow it to the middle of your distributor. Alright, so we're going to connect that to there. Obviously we're going to put the positive to the positive on the battery and the negative to the negative, and that will give us power to the gun. And then we're going to be looking up through here. If you can see, there's that little notch right under and below that belt in front of that fin, and we want that red notch we made with the old trusty crayon to line up with that. And another thing I did just to make this easier on me, because it's just me working on it with one hand, right? I just kind of loosened this just enough to where I can kind of turn it. That way, if I adjust it, you know, I'm not going to come back to it. Hopefully it's not going to move on its own because it's not too loose. So we're going to fire it up here, and then go through that process. So stay tuned. Alright, we got our timing gun out. We can see it's functioning properly, so that's good. We got everything connected right. We look down there, we're seeing our notch, so that's a good thing. So we're just going to get it propped up and get her dialed in. So you can kind of see right there. There we go. We can see our notch down to the bottom left, and then we're just going to adjust it till that notch will line up with the mark we made on there. So I'm just going to gently twist it because we have it slightly loose, like I talked about earlier, and you can see it's slowly closing in. And we just kind of do that until we get it pretty much dialed in, and that would be 10 BTO right there. Perfect. Feel free to take your time on this. It's definitely not something you want to rush through. Alright, as you can see here, I ended up just twisting the distributor counterclockwise until that mark we made began to line up with that notch. It's a pretty intricate process, but once you spend the time to really get her dialed in, you can get it pretty close to perfect. come around here, we can listen to how she sounds. I think she turned out pretty good. Alright, now that we know she's running good, we're just tightening down that bolt that holds the distributor down. Then we're going to disconnect our timing gun there at the ignition coil. Obviously, disconnect the positive and the negative. And after that, we're going to take her for a drive, fire her up, and make sure she's good to go. Alright guys, not going to lie, it's a little nerve-wracking for me. But we're just going to drive her and see how she does. Definitely took a little longer to shift, so I might have to advance it a little bit, but we're going to drive her a little more and see what she does. Alright guys, we got her pretty much dialed in. I set her at 10 BTO, and I think she's going to have to be adjusted just a little bit because it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, and there's a little bit of sputtering. So I think there's potentially some modifications done to that truck that I don't know about. So I'm gonna have to dial it in a little better. I think getting that spout connector on there would really help. So I'm gonna work on getting that on there, and then maybe I'll advance it a little more or retard whatever's needed. But nevertheless, I showed you guys how to time it. It worked pretty well for me. It was a lot more of a simple process than what I anticipated. So yeah, that's it guys. That's it for today. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you like these videos, turn on the notification bell. You can find it. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.